Hello, welcome to the Gunner Heat PC live stream for June 2023. It is still June, right? We're a little late, but it's still June.
Yeah, it's still June. It still counts.
I should probably put you on voice activity so you can hear me in Discord. There you go. Alright. It wouldn't be a stream without a little bit of audio issues. I hope everybody likes the musical intro. I came up with that today. It gives you a little clue when we're about to go live. Anyhow, we have been busy, very busy. As usual, I am joined by Kavi, who is our tech lead, and I am Josh, action scripter. Good to see you all again.
Howdy, all.
Yeah, we've been working on everything all the time, all at once, like we always do. We've got the roadmap. We do a thing where we work toward the next thing on the roadmap, but kind of loosely. We work on everything that needs doing at the time and then nudge in that direction. So right now we're very close to done with number 2 on the roadmap, the fire support task. That is currently planes, artillery. It's missing more detailed map controls. So info panel to show you what's available, more details about it, how much time is left. Right now there's just a button for each thing and it's not really, it's not very informative, so we want to fix that up a bit, and then we'll call that good. Number 3 is infantry, so we've been doing a lot of work for that. I've seen animations, navigation tests, AI, getting in and out of vehicles. It's all kind of more or less working, but we want to wrap up a couple of improvements to it before we show, so there's a little update on how that's going. We just did an update recently that was on the 22nd or so, I believe, that
Yes.
introduced better cast mechanics, some new sky rendering, a very early version of the weather system, a few other things. There's a whole list. Oh, and the Hind. The Hind is always fun. So we'll probably see more of those in future missions. In fact, let's get the game running so I can show some of the stuff.
You know what else we introduced in this patch?
What did we introduce?
Annoying slowdown for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, something at very nearly the last minute changed in the build so that the performance of the bomb drops just tanked, no pun intended. So for those of you who are getting a severe lag when you call in air support, that is going to be fixed. We didn't mean to put it alive like that, so we'll be rolling back something that we're pretty sure is causing it, and yeah, there will be a hotfix coming probably within a couple days.
Mm-hmm. Also, I think you intended that pun.
You never know.
I know.
I can't confirm. There is somebody in our server who's done so many puns that they have a special role for it, but it's not me, surprisingly.
Nah. At a certain point, you needed to delegate that, and I thank you for doing that, because I was getting ready to be done with you.
Ridiculous. Okay. So, let us play a little bit of Silver Dart while we get warmed up. It's always good.
Optimization update would be huge, to be honest. It's in our plans. It's in our near immediate plans, actually.
Yeah, I think some of my immediate plans for the end of June and beginning of July are involving optimization, because it does get to a point where, you know, it makes you nervous about the performance. You see something and you go, that should really change before we add more stuff. You know, I wouldn't want to add infantry and have the performance be choked by it or something.
Ever since a few updates ago, I've been frequently running out of memory and crashing. Guess I should probably upgrade from 8 gigabytes. Yeah, that's on you. We know our game runs heavy, but I can't help you if your game's running at 8 gig.
Yeah, the game is definitely more abusive of RAM and CPU than it should be. That's part of being early and not being fully optimized. But we are going to try to make some headway against that soon.
Yeah. For an early access game, I think our visuals are just every patch getting better and better.
It's kind of a frog boiling thing, as I think you said the other day, or maybe it was Harry. Someone said
Harry. Definitely Harry. I don't talk about frogs.
Okay. Hey, what do you have against... Okay, anyway, he pointed out that if you go patch by patch, you don't necessarily notice. But if you look at the game like a year ago, 2 years ago, compared to now, it looks almost completely different.
Yeah. And I think some of the stuff code-wise that are in need of optimization is just things that we directly ported over from G days, which worked, but now we're at a place where they just need to scale a bit better. Yeah,
some of the things that I think are having the worst impact on performance are actually left over from the oldest version of the game, the prototype. Just because we haven't had occasion to rewrite them yet. But now I'm gonna fix the work done by that jerk that wrote it in the first place, which was also me, but less skilled, and we'll see what we can get.
You have become a much better programmer since then.
I have.
I can stand to read your code now.
Well, I gotta ask my expert on code. Hey, copy.
You call this an int? Any progress on West German stuff?
Yeah, we've got several West German vehicles in a state of partial completion. They're not done yet. Vehicle stuff tends to go slowly until the last phase, where we decide, okay, this is a main focus for the next patch or so, and then we kind of marathon the end setup. I would say there's actually Russian stuff much closer right now. I'm not gonna say... Yeah, I'm not... Ooh. I am not doing well here.
Don't die.
Well, it wouldn't be a GHPC stream without the skill issue being displayed. Right.
True.
Okay, so let me talk about the upcoming vehicles while this sorry scene sits here. We have Russian vehicles probably the closest to being done right now. BMP-2 is kind of an early teaser of that, because that is intended for the Soviets. They were not in widespread use in the East German army, especially in the mid-80s rather than late. The T-62, T-64, and T-80 have all been confirmed as being added. We're not going to add them all at once, I don't think, but they are all being worked on. I've seen them being tested. They are pretty nice. There used to be older versions of some of them in the files that we kind of iterated away from and then forgot about. They made it into a build somewhere. We noticed and took that out, but they are much farther along than that. So, other versions of Abrams, like the M1A1. M1A1 is too new. It wouldn't be in Europe in 85. I think it took them till 87 to get it there, so just missed it.
That question comes up like every stream, and to me that's like, okay, new people are getting in on the game or getting in on the stream. That's cool, because we answer it all the time.
It is pretty neat to see. There's also the fact of the, what is it, the T80U is too new. Same thing for the T90, of course. T80B is arguable. I'm not sure if we'll do it or not, because you could make the case either way. It's like right on the borderline. So, but as far as what we're actually planning on specifically, it's just T80B. And then I saw somebody ask about aircraft. Yeah, they all have their own set of aircraft, so there are several planes in production that are intended only for the Soviet Air Force. They won't be making an appearance in East German livery, so that'll be fun to see when it arrives.
To get away from vehicles for a second, talk about the sky. A lot of people are noticing
I was just about to. So the sky is currently much nicer than it was previously. It has a better cloud system. If I get a reference point here and then look at it, you'll see that it moves. That wasn't happening before. And then if you watch it over time, it actually changes, and you can get weather shifts. It can become overcast, it can rain. There's a bit of a difference in the distant ground haze compared to how it used to be as well. It looks really nice, I think. Our environment guy just slowly works on little improvements and adjustments like that, and the game looks a lot better for it.
Riley's magical.
Yep.
Hey, I think I'm gonna do this thing. Oh man, new cloud system.
Yep. It's always a nice surprise.
A multiplayer mode. Is it planned?
Yes, of course. Well, I say of course. If you look at the roadmap, you will get answers to many questions. That is on the GHPC website, which is gunnerheatpc.com, of course. You look at the links section, that's, I think, probably still on the page. You don't even have to scroll. But if you do have to scroll, it's like right there. It gives you all of our social media platforms. It gives you YouTube. It gives you the roadmap and the FAQ. If you search the FAQ, you'll find a lot of stuff as well, like nice detailed answers to the common questions. For people who know how to do browser search, like Control F, you can just search the keyword that you're looking for, and the FAQ probably has something about it. So anyway, let's get a different mission going here.
Infantry with next update? No.
Not next update, no. There is, I think, still something to work out with the animations, and then performance as well. And since I'm going to be doing optimization stuff, that'll probably tie into that somehow. It'll improve the situation for multiple fronts at once.
Will multiplayer be PvE only, or will there also be PvP?
There will only be PvE as far as we know. We're still open to PvP somewhere, sometime, if it works, but it's not a yes thing. It's a we'll see what's feasible. Because if you do PvP, you have to do more balancing and more anti-cheat considerations, which is a lot more work. And we are 4 dudes and some contractors. It's not an easy situation to ask for PvP. We're not going to be making World of Tanks or whatever. It's a bit of a different thing. Let's see.
And with multi-crew for PvE, that really allows us to nail down some of the gameplay stuff before just trying to throw it in for everyone with PvP.
Exactly. Let's do some T-55. But yeah, there will be multi-crew, which is nice. So you can either do everybody takes a tank, or people take multiple crew slots in one vehicle. Maybe a mix of the two. We'll see how it goes. We're still working on that.
Questions like, will the British be added? Will the French be added? Will the Japanese be added? For some reason that comes up. Those are more specific to theaters. So right now it is NATO, West German, and US forces, and Pact, East German, and Soviet forces.
Yep. It's basically all the main players in the CENTAG region, as NATO called it, Central Germany. So you're not going to see British, they were in the north. You're not going to see, who else? I mean, there were all sorts of people lined up on the border, but our specific area, you could argue that the French were there, sort of. They were ready to be called on, but we're not including them in our initial plans. It's just, like Javi said, US, West Germany, East Germany, USSR.
Will there be any civilians driving and maybe walking that we'll need to watch out for? I'm going to say I don't think there will be, but there will be signs of life that, you know, people used to be in these places.
Yeah. There are plans to enhance the environment to show that this is like a place that people lived, and like see the remnants of evacuations or whatever. I like what Warno does, where if you look in their cities, which are quite detailed up close, you can see like open cars and abandoned luggage and stuff. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna go to Wedge.
Will the mission generator or campaign get any love sometime soon?
I don't know about soon, but it will.
Yeah, it will, but we gotta optimize a bit first before we try and throw any more into that. Are landmines planned? I hope so.
It would be neat. We have thought about it.
How many units can you fit in a mission? Not enough.
That was way short.
Any plans for a tutorial? Yes. We will have kind of like a setup with the Grafenvor tank range where people can do qualifications with certain tanks. I think that's the long-term goal, at least. So people can know a bit more about the vehicles they're utilizing.
Yeah, we need a better tutorial system, because we do have written guides, but you know, those are annoying to read and whatever, and a lot of people won't do it.
I don't even do it.
You don't read any guides, no.
Stop read.
So yeah, there will be some kind of in-game tutorial system eventually, and I would like to also have a kind of a qualifying system for each vehicle, so you can get used to common workflows and be rated on your performance. That should do a lot to alleviate the issue of jumping into the game and being completely lost. Like, what do I do? How do I drive this? I've seen people who have been playing the game for months and they don't know how to use the automatic lead on the Abrams. And that's not, ooh, that was a nice bomb drop. That is not something that we want long term.
The interiors question came up. Will there be more detailed interiors if
Yep.
there's multi-crew planned?
Alright, if you're following along at home, take a drink. That is addressed on the FAQ in a nice write-up, but the shorter answer is it takes way too much time and money to make interior models. We can't afford it, and for the amount of gameplay consideration you get for it, which is nothing, it's not worth it. That tank is dead.
How much work goes into Soviet tank crew voice? Oh boy.
All of the voices are extremely labor intensive to set up.
Yeah.
Not just the actors. Sorry, I feel like you were about to answer, but
No, go for it. Go.
it's the acting is one thing, and you have to do casting and then retakes possibly, and then once we have all that, we have to process them. Then we have to tag them for subtitles. We have to manually arrange a voice controller if there's a different workflow for the army that's using them compared to the previous ones. Like the Soviets and Westerners had different command flows, and even specific armies did things differently. So like every stage of the process, somebody is in there just for hours and hours doing everything by hand, and then finally you get a voice controller, and it more or less works. So all of that just to say, it's a lot of work, and while we do have Soviet stuff in progress, we are not done or close to done with it.
Unique Wishers in the chat. I know that guy.
What's up, Jaden? Jaden's one of our regular contractors to help us out, because this is too big of a game to be made by 4 people. He does good work.
Can you choose a mission by vehicle you will use? Not at the moment.
I would
but
like
we
to
do have
put filters in there.
Yeah, we do have plans for a filtering system and changing up that UI.
Wait, I just want to stop for a moment. Look at that crispy heat effect. That is just phenomenal.
Oh,
Our,
that looks nice.
our VFX guy just absolutely pops off. Every time we're like, all right, that's pretty good, Noah. Like, you don't have to go hard on the next thing. He goes hard on it every single time. No, we don't tell him not to go hard. That's his greatest strength.
Mm. There will be other translations for the game made available. Not sure on which languages those will be, but we have the underpinnings for that at the moment.
Yep. We do plan to make it so that if you are playing GHPC in a non-English kind of environment, you can set the subtitle language to something else. Oh boy, how far is this? I'm gonna say 1,000.
Gotta say, I think that's about the best vehicle fire effect I've yet seen in a game. Thank you, Naked Ape.
Nope, I lost the tank.
Come on, man. You're in front of all these people, and you're just playing like you didn't develop the game.
You know, you talk a big game, but I want to see you do any of this.
I talk a big game, and I dev a big game. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't really answer your challenge, and that's how I'm gonna keep it.
One of these days, we will be graced by Kavi's master gunnery. I know it.
When we have multicrew, and I am your gunner, and you are my commander, then I can show you a thing or two, and that's fine.
I'll make sure to enhance the game over screen a little bit before that, just to make it worthwhile.
Could you make a mini game out of that range map where people compete with gunnery scores? It's been talked about.
Yeah, I think something along those lines is likely, let's say.
Any plans to create a mission generation system for instant combat? Mission generation, like for skirmishes alongside the mission editor, is something interesting that we've chatted about, but not our priority right now.
Yeah, there's intention to do something where you can either make your own missions manually outright or do some kind of generation. That's kind of a longer term goal, though. There are several other big things that need to be done before that, including multiplayer, which we are working on. Might not seem like we're working on multiplayer because we never mention it in like patches or whatever, but we have somebody like specifically on multiplayer in the background working long term, so it's a big deal.
Any plans for more urban battles?
Not at the moment. We would need to revise the AI quite a bit for that. Oh.
Well done, Josh. Well done. How will the infantry work? Is it going to be something like while in the tank, the infantry is told to go somewhere, or will you be able to become something like an infantry squad leader?
So you won't be able to control the infantry directly. You will be able to deploy them if you are in a vehicle carrying infantry. You can tell them when to get out. I don't know if you'll be able to give them any orders besides that, though. You're basically a glorified battle taxi.
As God intended.
Yep.
At me, I'm sure you'll be able to shoot your own tank somehow. Hey. Hurtful. Even though that's a thing you can do right now.
Hello, ITV. I look forward to the playable M901.
Me too.
Alright, come on. Most stable Russian missile. Okay, there There we go.
Which Russian vehicles will carry infantry?
BMPs, BTRs, all the stuff that carries infantry normally. Same ones as these Germans, but they have slightly different models. Russians are going to get BTR 70, I think, if I remember correctly. They'll have BMP 1P and BMP 2. They will share the BMP 1P with the East Germans in commonality, but that's about it. East Germans have a lot of hand-me-down stuff. I think they were conspicuously kept from having the latest of anything, really. Like, the main backbone of the East German tank force was T-55As all the way up until the wall fell. It was not a modern force, even by Soviet standards. I've taken a bit of a beating here. This mission is brutal. Oh, we have rain.
Smoke launchers planned to be implemented in the near future.
I don't know about near future, but they are going to be implemented, yeah. I've seen some early testing of the smoke effects. They look really nice. It's another one of NOOP's fine particle works, so sometime we'll see them in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so upcoming stuff. I mentioned earlier in the stream I'm working on optimization next month. There are several old systems underpinning the game that need to be revised and looked at, given a little bit of updating. We've identified some problem spots that we need to work on. It's not going to be the be-all, end-all, like the whole game is optimized kind of thing, but it's going to be a big improvement, I think, I hope. And then we've got several other things that we're doing toward the roadmap. We've got someone working on multiplayer all the time. We have an AI overhaul coming. Several AI overhauls. The first stage is just tightening it up a little bit for performance and fixing some of the driving issues. Like, I saw some footage from testing recently. It didn't make it into this patch. They are able to reverse now with you. So if you're doing berm drills and you are the platoon leader and you're rolling up, shooting, and backing up, your guys will no longer try to turn around to go back. They will reverse with you. I know a lot of people are very frustrated by that when it happens, and you tend to lose a lot of your platoon mates just because they're showing rear armor. That's not happening anymore. And then there's going to be some other AI stuff to make the enemy actually able to kind of adapt to information rather than just following a path and shooting at whatever they see. That'll be fun when it arrives. It'll actually start to make things maybe a bit more dynamic. Right now they're basically, they're very clearly on rails and they're kind of automata. So, and then yeah, in general, as I said, we mostly work toward the roadmap items, focusing the most on whatever's next, and then doing work toward the more distant ones. The roadmap represents what would the game look like in version 1.0, essentially, and then after that we do content expansions and new features as we come up with them. What else do we have?
Will there be continuity of map progress in the campaign?
Map progress as in like stuff that you destroy will be destroyed again in other missions, or what do you mean?
I'm gonna guess if you finish a couple of maps, is that going to cause issue with, like, is there going to be something that we can show, basically like a front line moving or strength of the...
Oh, that map.
Yeah.
I was thinking like the terrain.
Inside of the map, the terrain, yeah.
So there will be a front line. The campaign thing right now, it's a place... It is a placeholder. It's very clearly a placeholder. I think it still has a disclaimer, actually. There will be a whole kind of game mode around it. I like to talk about it like it's basically a board game operating in the game, It has its own rules, its own information set up, like a front line, points that you can take, a little bit of resource management or choosing how to react to things. We're not ready to give all of the details because we keep refining them as we go, and I wouldn't want to say a lot of specifics right now and then have that be wrong, but it is going to be its own whole thing. It's not going to be this oh, what's my camera doing? Anyway, it's not going to be this let's roll you a random mission in a random vehicle, congratulations, there's campaign. That's not how it's going to end up. That's just so that we have something for you to play when you click that button for now, and then as we get through our roadmap items, we'll eventually reach a point where we can start doing the real campaign mode. I kind of want to show a CAS run.
You should. We did a bunch of work on it.
Yep. So there's a thing that I did. Should I show the algorithm behind it or just talk about it?
Up to you, man. It's your stream.
Yeah.
You can show whatever you want within legal reason.
Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. So one of the things that I did for this last patch cycle, ooh, there's the hip, that's nice. That's an in-game screenshot, by the way. Anyway.
Nice. You changed these screenshots.
Oh yeah, I change them all the time.
Oh.
I called the oldest ones and put in new ones, so when you see these slideshows that play before the stream and also when I'm talking, keep an eye out because sometimes there's spoilers or teasers in them. Nothing too egregious, but a lot of times it'll be things that aren't in the game yet, and you can get a little peek. Anyway, what I was going to say, during this past patch cycle, one of my big things was refining the way that close air support fly, and giving them the ability to do more varied loadouts and attack with different kinds of munitions. So I made this whole hardpoint system. I did all this stuff with like pilot pathing and choosing targets, choosing what weapon to use for what target. It was a lot of fun. I like that kind of programming challenge. But one thing that I'm especially proud of, if I can find it, is the algorithm that I came up with for actually routing CAS. Let me...
While you're searching for that, can you name drop who printed you that Sabo shell behind you?
Yeah, the 3D printed 105mm Sabo behind me was from Maker Steve on eBay. It's a very nice print. It has different pieces. You can find it in a past stream somewhere of me pulling the dart out and pulling the pedals off. It's all like ribbed and everything, just the way the real one is. And if you have, oh sorry, it's 120, not 105. He makes 105s though. If you have a steel or brass 105mm casing, a real one, you can buy Maker Steve's 105mm replica dart and put it in the real case and have a replica round. It's pretty cool.
Whenever
Yes.
I come over, he's always pulling out his ribbed dart for me to look at.
Predictable and sad. Anyway. Okay, here we go. So, when I was trying to figure out how to get the pilots to route themselves onto a target to fly in a way that they could attack the most efficiently, I had the dilemma of how does a plane know? How does the AI figure out where to go to get on target? And the first stage was figuring this out. If the target is inside your turning circle, you can't attack. If it's outside, you can, right? But there's a little more to it. You have to be far enough away from the target to line up your attack run. That's that extension of the path, the arrow going toward the target. So you need to account for that. I was like, well, how long is that arrow? We have to be able to calculate this. So then the next step was to realize that the arrow is tangent to the circle. It's a math thing for anyone who discarded all their math knowledge as soon as they got out of school, you'll be like, oh, tangent, what the fuck? But
Me.
yeah, so it's a line that it's perpendicular to the circle. So it basically flies off in the same direction it was just turning. And you can take advantage of that to make a triangle. And all of this stuff is known. You can solve for the length of the attack. And then you can figure out what this bigger dead zone, this blue circle is, where the plane has to be able to turn within that, or the target has to be outside of it, rather. And then the final step is, let me see if I got the last one here. Yep. So then once that's done, you calculate the left turn and the right turn. You calculate both dead zones, the blue circles. And you can see there's the two potential turns that could be made. And if both of them are viable, you pick the one that's got the closer center point to the target, and if only one's viable, you take that one. And as soon as I programmed this into the game, as soon as I told the pilots how to do this maneuver, they started acting really smart all of a sudden about how they lined up. They would do things like, as they flew away from a target, they would take the long turn because it was the closest. And then as they gained distance, they would realize that they could take the other direction because it was viable now, and they would turn back around toward the target. So it looks like they're very deliberately making space. They're turning the wrong way first, then the right way, and they're looping around, immediate attack run. It's very cool in action. So that's kind of how that came into being. I wanted to show that because it's a little glimpse into the process. You have to turn conceptual problems like how do I attack a target into stuff that a computer understands, so directions and angles and all this stuff. It's very fun. And just to show that in action, let's grab Obscene Odyssey, and I'm going to actually call some air support.
Not Crossroads?
Well, that's cool with the Phantom and everything, but it's the same with the MiGs here.
Okay.
I feel like everybody's looking at the Phantoms lately because of the new mission. I'm just gonna go ahead and call a MiG directly on where I know the enemy is immediately, and let's go watch it fly.
Now let's watch this drive.
Okay. We can do questions from chat while I'm trying to find the plane.
Can CAS attacks be shown on AAR?
The munitions that they drop will appear on AAR, but you won't see the plane. It's possible that we'll change it at some point so you can see the plane, I'm not sure. Did I miss this?
They were too quick for you.
I don't think they're on map already. I think I'm just too eager.
Will there be mod support and community vehicles? There is mod support in that we don't stop people from making mods. They can mod away if they so desire. We don't have the time or priority to focus on making direct mod tools because we're making the game. And that's just the way it is. But there have been some people who have done some mods, and it's available for whoever's so inclined to do so. As far as community vehicles, kind of the same answer as mod support. I don't see us doing a Steam Workshop sort of deal, but once people figure out how to put their own vehicles in, then, you know, more power to them.
Yep. There's nothing stopping anyone. Oh, this is the flyover. Where's my CAS? There's nothing stopping anyone from making mods right now, up to and including vehicles or missions. It's just, is anybody willing to do it and figure it out?
Will the song Not One Step Back by Majoris ever appear in-game again?
It is likely. That was the April Fool's theme.
Yeah. it is likely there will be more music from Majoris as well.
Mm-hmm. It's likely that there will be a soundtrack release from Majoris. There's a lot of stuff that's likely.
We like likely things.
Mm-hmm. I think I just completely missed my cast run because I was distracted by the flyover that happened. I was like, aha, there's a MiG, and there was not the one I called. I thought it was kind of funny that the rocket MiG showed up first instead of a bomb MiG. I should have taken that as a hint.
Are modded camouflages for existing vehicles planned? I'm not sure if that's a question related to modding a camouflage onto a vehicle, or if we're planning to have camouflages be appended to vehicles, like when they start off.
Either way, it's not something that we're doing. Like, we just give vehicles the camo that they would have in the theater, and then if you want something else, you'd probably have to do that mod yourself. That looks like my cast plan.
Support to mods from the community. Yeah, that's back to the other thing. They'd have to do it themselves.
Yep. Okay, Phantom's ready for a run. Let's watch this.
We're not trying to be jerks with that mod answer. We're just 4 dudes and a smattering of contractors, so we have to be really judicious with our... terrible miss. Judicious with our time for these kinds of things.
Oh, you know who didn't miss? This MiG. Just did a rocket run. I missed it though. Let's call someone else. I gave the Phantoms a 2-bomb load in this mission. Some of the Phantoms anyway. There's different loadouts. In the new mission you get the Giga loadout, the 6 Mark 82s when you call in air support. In this mission it's a mix of 2s and 6s, and then the MiGs have a mix of the rocket pod loadout and the Fab 250 loadout.
Wait, you can get multiple cast runs?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised by that. I was just reading something from the... Okay.
Oh, okay. I was about to be like, surely as a developer you already knew, but...
Look, I don't know everything about the game, but I know a good amount of stuff about it.
Just don't ask you any lore questions.
I'm not here for lore, okay?
Alright, looks like this is a bomb load. Good.
Oof. Will casts have a cooldown time? Yeah. So that was beautiful, and this is about the time when people's computers crash, and we know why that happens.
Yeah, there, like I said early in the stream, there was an issue that got in last minute with some of the stuff, and we're fixing it. There will be a hotfix.
Yeah.
So we don't like our game releasing in a state that has issues, so we try to address it when we can.
Yeah, we recognize we're early access, and that gives us flexibility, but we're not happy with the state of it right now.
Performance-wise, everything else is pretty dope.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous, but just that particular thing. I saw this question actually a bit ago. The Kiowa is in as a scout. What does it do, and what is its plan for the future?
So the Kiowa right now is just to notice where the enemy are and then leave. It leaves as soon as it's targeted by the enemy in the current mission. Oh, there goes the Cobra. But there is a more in-depth spotting mechanic and the intel thing planned. That's not in yet because the AI has no way to make use of it currently. In the future, things like the Kiowa will be reporting to command where the enemy movements are, and then that will make a difference in how things react in the battle, the other units. So they won't just be kind of useless decoration, they'll be actually a pretty important piece of the tactical puzzle, getting early warning about the specific locations and movements of the enemy. Right now they're kind of being teased in that mission. Just a little glimpse that there's going to be more stuff than tanks and armed aircraft.
Questions like when will X feature be added? We don't give times. We don't give deadlines because priorities shift, and we don't want to be seen making a promise and then not keeping it.
I decided to go dive into the woods for some reason. Okay.
So, things like when will smoke grenades be added? When will smoke canisters be added? When will animate tank girls be added? No promises.
I mean, obviously we have to prioritize the anime tank girls. That's like every remaining item on the roadmap, right?
I'm nodding furiously at the moment.
What did we figure out? That like 75% of the team is a weebs?
Is that... Well,
If you count anybody who enjoys an anime, at least one anime, as a weeb, then yeah.
if you go by Harry's definition, sure.
Yeah. If
don't
it's
even know how
like
he works with
into, then maybe like 25%. We are infested though, that's undeniable. It's actually incredible that we didn't start with Japan. No, I'm kidding.
I'd rather have Russian tanks than some stupid anime girls. Someone ate the onion. That's cool.
Yep.
Alright. Moving on.
We're in the last 10 minutes, so let me really quick plug the Patreon, because even though the game is out and you no longer get a different demo, high tier patrons get testing builds. Every patron gets the Q&A monthly, which is after stream on stream days or at the same time on non-stream months. It's a live Q&A in Discord. You can ask your question and get an answer, or just say whatever when you have the floor, and then recordings of them are posted on the Patreon page. And then in the mid tiers and above, you get an early peek at what we're doing, because you can see the GitHub activity feed. Everything that's merged into the master branch gets notified in a channel, so you can see how the next patch is shaping up kind of as we complete things. It's little neat benefits. You can show your support for the game, help development, and then also get a little reward here and there.
You can there are links to Patreon, our Discord, and a bunch of other things at gunnerheatpc.com, and that's pinned in the stream. Also, this is a live stream. They happen bi-monthly, but we do monthly a Q&A with our patrons.
We do.
That will be happening in about 8 minutes.
Yep. They are always after streams. I'm going to call in another plane because I don't feel like fighting anything directly.
You lazy.
It's called delegation. It's a skill. Yeah. Let's go.
Anything about the West German martyr that we can share?
It is an IFE, and it's coming to GHPC eventually. I hope that answers your question.
I think it does, and it rhymed.
I suppose so.
It did. Question for the devs. Why did the Kavi cross the road? How many action scriptures does it take to change a light bulb?
I see we're saving the hard-hitting questions for last.
How many action scriptures does it take to change a light bulb?
1, because that's all that I've got, unfortunately.
Now, if it was an electrical box breaker, oh boy. The answer would be 0. Well, we see more types of environments later down the line, as the theater calls for it.
I had to
Obviously,
take
we wouldn't have a desert environment in the Fulda Gap Theater, but if we ever switch to a different theater, then yeah, sure.
Yep. We make the terrains that suit the thing we're trying to depict. And as far as what's coming to the game later, new environments, we don't name them ahead of time. You will have to find out when they are announced. Can we free cam like that in the live version of the game? Yes, this is the build that's on Steam. That's what I'm playing in. You can look at the control list with F1, and there's a whole section on the free cam on the right side. I think there's a lot of useful stuff in this list that people could do to learn, but that's just me.
Are there any plans to implement flares for night battles?
There are flares
yeah,
for night battles. You can open up the map and click illumination flare in many missions. I don't think it's in all night missions, but in most of them it is.
I think that's true.
We might have missed a couple somewhere.
At what point would you consider a theater done?
That's a very open-ended question.
It really is.
I'm not even going to attempt an answer. It's too
Yeah,
murky.
it's too wide right now at the stage in development.
No, just at any stage. Like, when it feels done, it's done. I don't know.
When the war is done. I like that answer.
Oh, good. All I had to do was roll up.
Night version of Steel Wedge doesn't have flares yet, if I recall correctly.
It might have been missed or something. Most of the night missions have flares. Let me grab one.
Question to the devs. Weasel will be in the game?
I don't think Weasel was being used in the time period that we're doing.
There
Unless
you go.
I'm wrong. I don't remember hearing that they had Weasel a lot in 85.
GHPC is War Thunder but free to play. No.
What? War Thunder is free to play.
It just makes no sense.
Should we keep the stream going longer to get even more good takes? Let's do Lethargic Liberty and see if there's flare. Now I'm curious. I'm pretty sure that almost every night mission has the flares.
This is gonna be the one that doesn't, just to make you wrong on stream.
Also, chat, try to go a whole stream without mentioning War Thunder challenge. Impossible.
Impossible.
There we go. I called Illumination Flare. It will arrive at some point. Get a load of those stars.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing that changed with the weather and clouds that we added in. Beautiful stars.
And you can kind of see the effect that night vision does, where it'll amplify stars. It's not quite as dramatic as it is in real life, but it is here. Stargazing with nods is actually very fun. I would say people should try it, but I realize it's not easy to get a hold of night vision. But if you have night vision and you haven't stargazed with it yet, do it, you're missing out. There we go, Illumination Flare. I knew I wasn't crazy. Well, about that.
Not only does an illumination flare help you see the enemy, but it also helps the enemy see you.
Yes, but it depends if you are in the area that's being illuminated. So when we added night illumination flares, we added a vision influence system based on how close you are to the light. So if you drop the illumination flare just anywhere, like above your head, you are going to do yourself a massive disservice. If you drop it above the enemy, you will allow your guys to spot them more effectively while keeping yourself more or less in the shadows. So be careful about where you call those. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the dynamic compass. I'm gonna say this is about 900. Oh yeah. The compass at the top of the screen now shows basically the range of angles that are in view right now. So as I'm doing this gun sight, I can see like 1 degree at a time. If I go out to normal view, it's a much broader set of angles. Zooming in if the binoculars, I see every 5 here. Yeah, it's much more useful for measuring angles, and then when you see a target, the marker is also easier to follow because there's a wider range represented, more room for it. What about smoke artillery? When we add a smoke system for the smoke grenades, we'll probably do smoke artillery shells. I'm not going to promise, but it is something we're thinking about. Where is this guy? Most stable M60 site. Let's see. Over
He
there?
said it. He said the line.
He did. He did say the line. Oh, is he down?
If you're not advertising your game in your game, what are you really doing with life?
Hey. No? Why am I not recognizing this? Oh, that's where he is. Oh shit.
Are we leaving the stream on an L?
No. Thought it was getting hairy there for a minute. And not Harry, our Australian art director, but the bad kind.
I wasn't gonna say it, but you said it.
The heat shimmer is looking pretty cool too on the gun sight when you fire.
Mm-hmm.
I
Just
was
love those effects.
very concerned about the tanks showing up there. Thought it was gonna go badly for me. GHPC really is a horror game. It's got jump scares, it's got screams and yelling. It's yeah. Scary monsters with glowing eyes, the infrared lights.
Patch by patch, we're capturing the horror of war.
Yeah. What was it Harry said a long time ago? We want to make you sad.
Yeah.
There's some truth to that.
Here at Radiant Simulations, we enjoy your tears.
Ask us about the red text. Let's see. What else? Okay, well, it's about that time to switch to the Patreon Q&A. So, I'm going to park up here, turn on my headlamps, just for fun. If you didn't know you could do that, check out the Q menu when you're in different vehicles. You'll find a lot of stuff, like the radio and the UAZ.
Best music of the game.
And yeah, so, oh, hold on. Where is this dude? Oh, there he is. Hard to miss. Okay, as I was saying, time for the Patreon Q&A. So, we are going to wrap it up here. If you are a patron, you can join us on the Discord server in the Q&A stage. Is that one of my guys dying? No, good. And if you are not a patron, consider subscribing. Patreon.com/GunnerHeatPC. It gives us a little extra support for the game. It gives you some little benefits, as I mentioned. You get early test builds if you're in that tier. You get to be in the Q&A and so on. As usual, GHPC is entirely funded by sales and Patreon. We have no publisher, no investors. We are free to do what we would like with the game, and we are not answering to anybody for funding, which is a very nice place to be. I'm gonna murk this dude before I go.
Try to end the stream on time challenge if possible.
All right, and I might be mistaken about who's doing what here. Okay, well, turns out I have a skill issue.
You don't say.
So what I'm actually going to do is end the stream in shame, as is tradition. Please, language. Thanks for joining, everyone. We will see you guys later.
Bye-bye.